Hello and welcome to Popcorn News, something to watch while you eat popcorn. Today is November 11th, 2015, Veterans Day. The time is approximately 3:40 a.m. Central Standard Time. The Anglo-American establishment has declared Russia to be public enemy number one. This was explored in yesterday's Popcorn News entitled, what was it entitled? Propaganda Carpet Bombing Begins. What do we know about these Russians? Well, for one thing, they enjoy dancing. It has also been learned that the Russians enjoy drinking tea.
Russians love tea as much as the British do. So the word for tea is chai. Chai. Tea. I like to drink my tea when it's really hot. The Russian adjective for hot is горячий. Горячий is hot. But some people prefer it cold, or холодный. Холодный is cold.
The Anglo-American establishment has declared Russia to be now public enemy number one. Who are these Russians? An author by the name of Carol Quigley, in his book Tragedy and Hope, gives us some background. Professor Quigley of Georgetown University is not just anyone. He was praised by Bill Clinton in 1992 at the Democrat Party convention. Professor Quigley revealed the presence of an Anglo-American establishment. In chapter 3 of his book, Tragedy and Hope, chapter 3, The Russian Empire to 1917, Quigley tells us that Russia is another civilization quite separate from Western civilization, and Quigley capitalizes Western civilization, but for Russian civilization that gets a small c. Russian traditions were derived from Byzantium directly. Byzantium is Constantinople, now called Istanbul, which it was big. As Rome declined, Byzantium, Constantinople ascended in power and influence. The, quotes, Slavs, unquotes, first appeared more than 2,000 years ago as a peaceful, evasive people. They were a shy people, lurking in their forests. So the Russians begin as a shy people, hiding in the forest. But then things evolved, and in World War I, Germany was fighting against Russia, and Germany unleashed a secret weapon, Bolshevism. They imported Vladimir Lenin into Russia, and he stirred up a revolution there. It was part of a dirty war trick. And the Russians were overcome by communism. They are not inherently evil. They are not inherently communists. It was just the secret weapon had been unleashed upon them with disastrous results. In the 1960s, when I was in grade school, they used to give us these comic books called Treasure Chest. And in these comic books, Russia was depicted as just horrible. And the communists, they were going to come in and take over the United States. That part may have come true, not in the way foreseen as some kind of an invasion, but rather what Antonio Gramsci a communist theoretician called the March Through the Institutions. Gramsci figured that there would be an insinuation of communism into the United States, a gradual insinuation. And the Treasure Chest comic books didn't get that part exactly right, but they portrayed what the United States might become. The Russians, the shy people living in the forest, began to emerge around 1991 when the Soviet Union disintegrated and communism was overthrown. They came towards the fence and shyly said, "Hello, neighbor." But we, the Anglo-American civilization, well, not we, but the secret controllers, looked down upon the Russians as culturally inferior. And so, around the mid-1990s, began the policy of gradual encirclement of Russia. Beginning in the former Yugoslavia, which was destabilized, and then came Arab Spring in 2011, which destabilized a lot of Middle Eastern countries, but Syria resisted with the help of Russia. What had happened was Russia emerges from the forest and says, "So hello neighbor, let's be friends." And the Anglo-American establishment pretended to be friendly, but they worked these secret uprisings in places like Ukraine, Georgia, Yugoslavia, the Middle East. And gradually it got to be that Russia wised up and said, we are not going to be a doormat for you people. And other people have tried this before. There's Napoleon Bonaparte. He thought he could just roll over Russia, and it didn't work. Adolf Hitler thought he could do that, and it didn't work. So we got a disastrous foreign policy going on. And what do we get here for our approved discussion? Some politically correct controversy coming from a faction of communism or socialism known as the Frankfurt School, which distracts us from real foreign policy issues as well as economic issues here in the United States by constantly stirring up division along the lines of so-called race, gender, and sexual preference. And now things are unraveling for the New World Order gang, and they have become ever more fierce in their pronouncements against Russia. Thank you for watching Popcorn News.